Flash sure is the fastest man alive, but getting to the big screen has been a long, torrid journey for the Scarlet Speedster. In this video, we'll be covering all the major cancelled Flash movie productions. If you find this topic intriguing, super speed into that like button and let's get started.
My name is Barry Allen, and I am the fastest man alive.
No, God!
David Goyer's 2004 Flash movie. David Goyer, the writer behind various superhero movies like Man of Steel and the Dark Knight trilogy, penned a script for the Flash movie that would have Wally West be the main focus and Barry Allen would play a supporting role in the movie. Ryan Reynolds was chosen to portray Wally West. The script would actually have Barry Allen be already the Flash and have him be presumed dead in the first act of the movie. The movie would also have villains like Hunter Zolman and the Turtle. In fact, until the climax of the movie, Hunter Zolman is actually depicted as Barry's friend who would be mentoring Wally from a wheelchair after he loses his ability to walk from an accident. This plot point does sound eerily similar to the one in the Flash TV show. The movie would have Wally West sort of accepting his powers and accepting his destiny to be the hero and be the Flash and follow his mentor's footsteps. The climax would reveal that Barry Allen is actually still alive and it would be a whole reunion of both of them. By 2007, David S. Goyer ended up leaving the project as he and WB couldn't quite agree with what kind of Flash movie they wanted to be made. Justice League Mortal 2008. The first attempt at bringing DC's flagship team to the big screen, the Justice League. That was way back in 2008. Barry Allen's Flash would have a prominent role in the movie, and the movie would actually end with Barry Allen sacrificing his life to save the world. In fact, the Justice League movie would open with a funeral of a hero, and we wouldn't know who that is until the climax of the movie. That's how the whole movie structure was. So the movie would end with Wally West taking up the mantle of the Flash, and it would sort of imply that the adventures of the Flash would continue in a spin-off movie focusing on him. However, the Justice League movie was cancelled owing to production delays, increasing costs, etc. That could be a whole different video. But because of that, the whole idea of bringing the Flash to the big screen was again delayed. The Gerg Berlanti, Marc Guggenheim Flash movie. WB turned to Gerg Berlanti and Marc Guggenheim to write a draft of the Flash movie in the early 2010s. The duo had already worked on the 2011 Green Lantern movie. The Flash movie was described by Marc Guggenheim as a part forensic science movie, diving into the CSI side of Barry Allen's profession, a part superhero movie, and a part sports movie, considering the athleticism of the character. The movie would also have a cameo by Hal Jordan, which we can presume to be Ryan Reynolds since he was kind of the Green Lantern at the time. Unfortunately, the script would never go beyond scripting stages, but a lot of the ideas said by Marc Guggenheim I think did make it to season 1 of The Flash because I think a lot of how that story was structured was very similar to how Marc Guggenheim described. Like it was a lot of the episodes would open with Barry investigating a new villain of the week. It would have him be in his civilian clothes, in the civilian profession, being a CSI. It also had that sports movie aspect to it. You had Barry pushing his limits, unlocking new powers. So I think a lot of those ideas did make it to the Flash TV show, but there's no confirmation of that anywhere, but that's just my assumption here. The DCEU musical chairs. Phil Lord and Chris Miller, the producers and writers behind the amazing Spider-Verse movies, and also the directors of the Jump Street movies, which are also great fun. They were brought in to complete a version of a Flash movie that would take place within the Snyderverse, because this was after 2013's Man of Steel. This would star Ezra Miller as the Flash. The duo was also considered to direct the movie. However, they decided to work on Solo, a Star Wars story, considering they just couldn't let go of the chance of directing a Star Wars movie. Now, unfortunately, the duo was fired from the Star Wars movie, from Solo, a Star Wars story. But they did end up making the Spider-Verse movies. So I guess it all worked out in the end. But anyway, coming back to The Flash. After Phil Lord and Chris Miller left, numerous directors came on board and left the project. The first one to come on board was Seth Grahame-Smith, who worked on movies like Abraham Lincoln, The Vampire Hunter. A little bit of an odd pick, but that's the first person WB brought in. But he also left the project due to creative differences. The next person who came in and was really close to making the Flash movie was Rick Famuyiwa. He has made movies like Dope. Now he completed a version of the script that would prominently feature Cyborg throughout the movie. Unfortunately, it is said that the script was deemed to be too edgy, or WB just didn't quite agree with what he wanted to do. And this is also the time when Jeff Johns was sort of heading DC. but we don't really know. There were some creative differences between DC and Rick Famuyiwa, and he also left the project. And this is the time when a lot of rumors were happening behind the scenes of the DCEU that the WB executives weren't quite happy with the direction that Snyder was taking the DCEU. And they sort of considered making the Flash movie the Flashpoint movie, maybe a time travel movie that would sort of be in the vein of X-Men Days of Future Past, so that they could maybe get a fresh timeline. John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein, directors of the Game Night movie, would then come on board by the end of 2018 to work on the Flash movie. We don't quite know what version of the script they did, but the script was said to be a lot lighter and it would focus on the time travel aspects. It would be a Flashpoint movie. However, Ezra Miller was not happy with the version of the script that they had written, so he himself came on board to write a version of the script, and then he also brought in comic book writer Grant Morrison. But we don't really know what the script was, but apparently it was a little bit of a more darker version of the Flash story. After this, even Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daley left the project, and then numerous directors were approached, including Ben Affleck, Jordan Peele, Sam Raimi, even Robert Zemeckis. Wait, how do you pronounce that? I'm sorry, but the director of the Back to the Future movies, who seems like a very right fit, to be honest. All of them were approached to direct the Flash movie, but unfortunately no one quite came on board. Finally, Andy Muschietti, the director of movies like Untitled Chapter 2, would come on board to direct the movie. He would give a fresh rewrite of the movie. The movie was touted to adapt the Flashpoint story, but also gave a multiversal angle to it. I haven't seen the movie yet. It seems like everyone else has, unfortunately. So from what I hear, it's a big sort of how do I put it, a big love letter to the DC universe. But the Flash has debuted to pretty decent positive reviews, and we'll see how it goes. But this was the story behind all the cancelled productions of the Flash movie. It came a long way. It's fascinating to see from which all versions the script actually went. First it was a solo Flash focused movie, and it initially, it was going to be a Wally West movie. Then it became a Barry Allen movie. It also, in many ways, it followed the track of the comics before Jeff Johns sort of brought in the new Flash run in 2010 in the comics. In 2010s, I would say, in the comics, Barry Allen wasn't quite the Flash. It was Wally West. So that's why a lot of the earlier movies actually focused on Wally West being the Flash. But then, we sort of had the shift to Barry Allen coming to prominence again, and I think it's fascinating. I hope we do get to see more Flash stories, and whichever way, like either the current sequel to the current one, or maybe a James Gunn, a version set in the James Gunn verse, I don't know, or maybe they're the same thing. Who knows? Now, it's honestly just so confusing, just looking at it all. But anyway guys, that's it for the video. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to hit that like button. Also, do let me know in the comment section which Flash movie adaptation or which cancelled Flash movie you would have liked to have seen. I'm sure I probably, considering how much twisty-turvy the production was, I probably missed a version or two of the Flash movie. So if there's one version that you would have liked to have seen which got cancelled, do let me know in the comment section. That's it for the video, guys. Keep geeking out.